Okay, let's dive right in. Today, we're taking a deep dive into something specific. Service departments in Jakarta.
Yeah, a really interesting option in such a dynamic city. And we've got some good source material here, an article that kind of lays out what you need to know.
Right, so our mission, as always, is to unpack this source, pull out the really crucial bits, and basically give you a shortcut to understanding service departments there.
Exactly. Who's this for? Well, if you're a business traveler planning a longer stay, maybe relocating with family, or honestly, just curious about an alternative to a standard hotel.
Then this should be really helpful. It's all about finding that comfortable, functional space in, let's face it, a huge and bustling city.
So first things first, drawing from the source, what is a service department, really?
The article frames it as a kind of hybrid, doesn't it?
It does. You get the space, the privacy of an apartment, but with hotel-like services thrown in.
So fully furnished is key.
Yeah.
And that means more than just a bed, right? We're talking
Yeah.
a living area, maybe separate bedrooms.
And, crucially, a kitchen. A proper one. Fridge, stove, microwave, cookware, the works.
Hmm. And unlike renting a regular flat, you don't have the hassle of, daily upkeep.
Exactly. Housekeeping's usually included, maybe weekly, maybe more often. And if the AC breaks, they handle it. Not your problem.
Plus, you often get those shared amenities, like a gym, maybe a pool.
Sometimes even a business center, stuff you'd expect in a hotel.
Okay, you can see why this would appeal, especially for longer trips. The Force calls them a game changer for business folks.
And it makes sense. Think about living out of a suitcase in one room for weeks.
Yeah, it gets old fast.
Right. The source really connects this to like productivity and just feeling okay on a long trip. A service department gives you a proper workspace that isn't your bed.
Uh-huh.
You can make your own breakfast, cook a simple dinner, saves money too. And just having a separate living room to unwind in, big difference.
It really is that home away from home idea the source mentions. That feeling of normalcy is, well, it's pretty important for staying sane and productive when you're away for ages.
And for business travelers, things like reliable high-speed internet, maybe even meeting rooms on site. That's a huge plus.
So stacking it up against a traditional hotel, what are the key differences beyond just size?
Well, space is the obvious one. Service departments are generally much bigger.
Definitely. Separate living, sleeping, maybe dining areas versus, one room.
And the kitchen, that's
Yeah.
the massive differentiator. Hotels might give you a mini fridge if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Here you can actually cook meals.
Which, as you said, impacts the cost over a longer stay. Eating out or room service 3 times a day gets expensive.
For sure. Privacy is another point the source brings up. It feels more like your place, less like a temporary room in a busy building.
Right. Hotels have that daily housekeeping, constant staff presence. Service departments offer cleaning, yes, but maybe less frequently, giving you more independence.
It's that blend again, comfort, convenience, but with a bit more autonomy. Feels less transient.
Okay, so we know what they are, why they're good. Where do you find them in Jakarta?
The source breaks it down by area, south, central, north. Yeah, each with its own vibe. South Jakarta seems really popular, especially with expats and younger professionals.
How's that?
It's got that mix of business districts like SCBD, that's the Sudirman Central Business District, and Kuningen, but also lively areas like Kumang, lots of
Yeah.
restaurants, nightlife, shopping.
Okay, so work and play nearby. The source mentions a few places there.
It does. Oakwood Premier Cosmo Jakarta, Dwijaya House of Pakubuwono, Mansion 28 Dharma Wangsa. Shows there's a range of styles.
Then there's Central Jakarta, more historical.
Yeah, the administrative heart. Government buildings, museums, Merdeka Square, that sort of thing.
So good for access to cultural sites and business districts.
Exactly. And you've got upscale residential areas like Menteng there, too. The source points to places like the Shangri-La Residences, St. Regis Jakarta Residences, Fraser Residence Menteng. Pretty high-end options often.
In North Jakarta, different feel again.
Totally. Coastal, more industrial in parts, but also lots of entertainment. Areas like Kelapa Gading, known for malls and food, and PK, Pantai Indah Kapuk.
PIK is newer, developing.
Yeah, very modern. And you've got the historical old town Kota Tua up north, too. Examples given there are Citadines and Oakwood Apartments, PIK Jakarta.
So the takeaway seems to be, figure out your priorities first. Work location, lifestyle, budget. Then pick the area.
Precisely. It's not one size fits all.
Okay, let's dig into the amenities. What kind of facilities are common beyond the basics in the apartment itself?
Well, you'll usually find a reception, maybe a concierge. Super useful. The source notes for taxis, local tips, stuff like that.
And the shared facilities? Gyms, pools?
Often, yes. Gyms are common. Pools, too. Maybe a sauna. The sauce has a funny anecdote about someone forgetting to check if there was a gym, so definitely confirm if it matters to you.
Good advice. And business centers.
Sometimes, yeah. Depends on the property's focus.
And back inside the actual apartment, we keep coming back to the kitchen.
Because it's such a big deal for longer stays, the source really hammers this point. Game changer for budget and convenience.
Totally. And a washing machine in the unit.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Oh, yeah. Beats finding a laundromat, Wi-Fi, AC obviously essential, and Jakarta TV. Those are pretty standard.
Any nice extras sometimes.
Maybe a decent coffee machine. Perhaps they can arrange babysitting on request. Varies quite a bit.
And housekeeping is standard, just the frequency differs.
Right. And maintenance is handled by them, which is way easier than renting privately and having to sort repairs yourself.
Okay, let's shift gears. The source reminds us Jakarta is a proper foodie city. So what's waiting outside the apartment door?
Oh, man. Everything. Amazing street food, cool cafes, really high-end dining. The source mentions areas like Menteng and Senopati as foodie hotspots.
Any specific examples it gives?
A few, yeah. Warung Nagi for late-night Indonesian comfort food, Gianti Coffee Roastery if you're serious about your coffee, and Bunga Rampai for a fancier Indonesian meal.
So even with a kitchen, you're tempted to eat out a lot.
Definitely. And the nightlife is buzzing, too. Central Jakarta has great rooftop bars, Sky Bar, Cloud Lounge get mentions for views.
Clubs too.
Yep, Fable and SCBD is mentioned. Plenty of options.
And culturally. Beyond food and drink.
Lots to see. The National Museum for History Buffs, the historical Old Town, Kota Tua, is fascinating. Istiqlal Mosque is immense. Plenty to explore.
So you've got your comfy base and a whole city to experience. Now, how do you actually book one of these places? Any tips from the source?
Yeah, some practical stuff. Timing matters. Prices change with seasons, big events.
So book ahead, especially for peak season or conferences.
Definitely. Weekends, holidays usually cost more too. Maybe aim for the shoulder season just before or after peak for potentially better deals and fewer crowds. And look out for promotions.
When you're comparing options, what should you look for? The source has a checklist, right?
It does. Location, obviously. Close to work, transport, attractions, what you need.
Then amenities. Does it have that gym you want? Is the Wi-Fi reliable? Is the kitchen well equipped?
Check recent online reviews, really important for honest feedback. Look at the size and layout photos carefully. Does it have enough space if you're traveling with family?
Security's a big one too. 24-hour security, secure access, CCTV.
Good points to check. And the source advises just asking the provider directly if you're unsure about anything.
Which brings us to the rental agreement. Got to read the fine print.
Absolutely crucial. This details everything, your rights, their responsibilities.
Like payment terms, when is rent due, how do you pay, any hidden fees.
Exactly. And the cancellation policy, understand that before you book. Check the house rules too. Noise, guests, pets.
What about liability? Like if something gets damaged?
Yeah, know where you stand. The source strongly suggests getting travel insurance to cover potential issues. And confirm the lease dates, start and end, and how extensions work if you might need one.
And remember to factor all this into your overall trip budget.
It's worth mentioning, too, the source notes you can book these places online through various websites, but also that you can work with property management companies. It specifically mentions moveandstay.com, saying they've been helping travelers and expats find places across Asia for over 25 years, whether it's for a day, a week, or longer. So that's an option if you want more direct assistance.
Good point. Okay, the elephant in the room for Jakarta, getting around. How does the source describe the transport situation?
Delicately. Calls it a work in progress.
Okay. So, public transport.
There's the Transjakarta bus system. It's extensive, but can get very crowded.
Right.
There's the MRT, which is modern and nice, but the network is still pretty limited. KRL commuter line trains go further out, but expect crowds there too. And the LRT lines are expanding, but aren't comprehensive yet.
So, what do most people rely on?
Taxis and ride-sharing. Gojek and Grab are huge there. Using the app usually means a fixed price, which is good, though you can get surge pricing.
And regular taxis.
Still common, just make sure they turn on the meter.
And the traffic itself. The source calls it.
A beast. Yeah. It's notoriously slow, especially during rush hour. Think 7 to 10 a.m. and 4 to 7 p.m.
Any survival tips?
Avoid peak hours if you possibly can. Use navigation apps like Waze or Google Maps religiously, they account for traffic. And for shorter trips, maybe brave a motorcycle taxi and Ojek, they can weave through jams.
Mostly. Patience.
Patience is key. Essential, really.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. Based on our source, service departments in Jakarta sound like a really solid option, particularly for longer stays.
Yeah, they offer that great combo of comfort, space, convenience, more room, feels more like home, you can cook.
And potentially save money compared to a hotel over weeks or months.
Exactly. Plus, you're right there, ready to explore everything Jakarta offers, the food, the culture, the nightlife.
It seems like a strong recommendation if you're planning an extended visit.
Definitely worth considering for a more comfortable, independent stay in such a vibrant city.
So for you listening, as you weigh your options for Jakarta, really think about what matters most for your trip. Is it the absolute closest location to your office? Is it being near the buzz of nightlife? Do you need family-friendly amenities like a pool? Or maybe just a quiet space to retreat from the city's energy?
And here's a final thought to chew on. Given Jakarta's infamous traffic, how much weight should you really give to being near the limited fast public transport lines versus prioritizing the comfort, the space, and the amenities you can get inside the service apartment complex itself? Where's the balance for you?